Bruce Wayne gets married in Chemistry. There's a wedding reception, a honeymoon, they really go all out here. It doesn't take a Batman expert to realize this break in status quo might not last. But how does someone tame Gotham's ultimate bachelor and creature of the night? Bruce Wayne's old friend, Veronica Vreeland, gets hitched to a man named Michael. At the reception, Bruce nabs the garter and meets Susan, the woman who caught the bouquet. There's a mutual attraction between the two, and Bruce even finds himself daydreaming about her when he's out later as Batman, causing uncharacteristic slip-ups. Eventually, he has to meet her again, and after reciting their deep feelings for one another, Wayne proposes to Susan on the spot. This all leaves Bruce in the happiest place he's ever been, admitting to the Bat family that he's turning the protection of Gotham over to them sooner than expected. He is quitting as Batman. Wayne actually goes through with it and marries Susan. However, during their reception at Wayne Manor, Bruce gets an urgent call from Veronica, who tearfully exclaims that her husband Michael has something terribly wrong about him, before screaming and leaving the phone off the hook. With Susan's blessing, Wayne rushes over to Vreeland's residence to help. I thought Chemistry was a pretty strong episode on the rewatch. It's another one of those potential game-changing premises that would have benefited from being a two-parter. Bruce Wayne not only ties the knot, but quits being Batman here. I imagine they could have expanded on this quite a bit if writer Stan Berkowitz and director Butch Lukic were given the real estate. This was the last TNBA episode for both, and overall, it's not a bad one to go out on. Seeing Bruce tell Grayson, Gordon, and Drake he's quitting the vigilante life was interesting. There are beats and an attitude about Wayne in that scene that reminded me of a similar sequence in Batman Forever.
I'm not going to be Batman anymore. I've asked Susan to marry me. She's accepted. She's everything I need. She's perfect.
From this day on, Batman is no more. Chase is coming over for dinner. I'm going to tell her everything.
While I still wish there was that more distinct Bruce Wayne voice present in certain scenes, Kevin Conroy's performance in the Batcave bit is the right mix of intense and unusual. The reason he's acting so erratically is explained later, and I think he did a good job balancing that without losing Wayne's gravitas. It's unsettling to see Bruce so content.
The pain of my parents' deaths, it's still there, but it seems smaller.
It's called happiness.
Whatever it is, I like it.
In addition to that remark, Tim Drake is given a few moments to shine, with an instance of saving Batman's butt during a robbery breakup and also coming in clutch during the climax. We're almost to the end of the show here, and it's clear to me that Drake had a strong case to have replaced Bruce as Batman down the line if the old man had hung up his cape earlier. Oh, and if that whole Return of the Joker thing didn't happen. Dick Grayson serves an important purpose in the Batcave scene, doubting that Bruce is capable of discontinuing his late nights, but I feel like he should have been in this more often. It's noted online that a costumed Nightwing appearance was cut, but there's no official source for that. What we do get is an intriguing moment between him and Barbara at the wedding reception.
He'll have the costume on again in a month.
Anyone can change and settle down, even you.
Don't get your hopes up.
As if.
First, Lucius Fox seems to be Bruce's best man. I guess for his public persona that tracks, but Dick or even Alfred would have made more sense, right? Who else do you think could have filled that role? Let me know. Anyway, after seeing how close Grayson and Gordon were in the Old Wounds flashback and the Sub-Zero movie, this showed off how much Dick had changed in those years away. I don't buy that he doesn't have any lingering feelings for Babs, and this comes off as more of a tough guy defense mechanism. Gordon only reacts that way because Grayson was so rude. What could have been? At her home, Veronica is being attacked by her husband. Michael even walks through security lasers outside her safe and heals instantly. Bruce arrives at Vreeland's house to see the building on fire. He busts in and is able to save his friend before the place totally burns down. Later, we see Michael at a greenhouse where Poison Ivy is hiding out. It's revealed that Michael is a plant person, created by Ivy as part of her grand plan to marry off Gotham's wealthy citizens so she can inherit their fortunes upon their imminent murders. At Bruce's request, Batgirl and Robin followed Michael and see this all go down. They tussle with a few of Ivy's plant monsters and watch as they disintegrate when coming into contact with an orange substance the villain had nearby. Meanwhile, on his honeymoon cruise with a few other rich couples, Bruce gets suspicious when the other husbands converse about how easy their relationships have been. They were all perfect matches for their spouses, noting that at least one half of each couple has vibrant green eyes. Wayne then confronts Susan about some of her previously undiscussed background. His wife's green eyes soon give away that something's wrong when Bruce presses her on the issue.
What are you?
Why, Bruce? I'm your wife.
Wayne escapes Susan's clutches in time to see Poison Ivy arrive with the undisguised Michael as she reveals her plan to Gotham's upper crust. She intends on blowing up the yacht, killing the wealthy Gothamites on board, and inheriting their assets through their plant-based significant others. Just in time, Batgirl and Robin show up with the Batman suit and tanks of Ivy's weed killer from her greenhouse. The Bat family rescue the catfish tycoons before the ship explodes, Batman failing to save Ivy in the process. As the yacht sinks, the Dark Knight fully accepts that his whirlwind romance was too good to be true. Poison Ivy was back on track here. This and House and Garden showcased just how twisted she could be when in pursuit of what she wants. The plant people stuff isn't quite as horrifying as her vegetable clones, but look at this.
Eat trichloroethane, broccoli boy.
We're sinking. Come on.
Goodness, give Tim another few points.
Time for a goodnight kiss. Kiss this!
Linda Hamilton pops up here voicing Susan, and I thought she did a good job in the limited role. Her character in Batman Beyond gave the actress a bit more to sink her teeth into. It would have been nice to have gotten a few additional scenes with her, but they had less than 22 minutes to get this whole story in. On that note, the lack of a wrap-up scene was kind of glaring. Major stuff happened in this episode. A 30-second to 1-minute sequence showing us what Bruce had lost and rededicating himself to Batman could have been a tragically poignant moment. At Bruce and Susan's wedding, the production team threw in some fun cameos. This included Summer Gleason, Dr. Francine Langstrom and her husband Kirk Langstrom, aka Man-Bat, Jack Ryder, aka The Creeper, the obscure character Miss Bambi from the Mask of the Phantasm movie, I guess Zatanna, who looks a lot like Lois Lane here, Jason Blood, Dr. Joan Leland from Arkham, and of course Dr. Leslie Tompkins. Mayor Hill and Commissioner Gordon are also shown prominently. Those are all I could recognize when I cross-referenced some online sources, but I'd be willing to bet they hit a few more in the background somewhere. In the production order of the series, this was the last time we saw a handful of important characters. Veronica Vreeland, Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson, and Poison Ivy take their final TNBA bows. Ivy, who apparently survives her dip into the ocean here, would make a few sporadic DCAU appearances after this, and Babs we know would show up plenty more times. Nightwing had little cameos in a pair of future DCAU eps, but unfortunately, this was the last time Lauren Lester voiced Dick Grayson for a long while. He'd lend his skills to a video game and a couple other DC characters over the years, with his big return as Grayson taking place in the 2017 movie Batman and Harley Quinn. I don't think Mr. Lester gets enough credit for his wide-ranging performance. We saw this character at several different stages of his life, and Lester's steady hand guided us through those changes. It's a true shame that we never heard him reprise the role in Batman Beyond. I know Dick Grayson has popped up in comics from that timeline, but to see him on screen with Lester providing the voice would have been something special. Respect to Lauren for all his hard work. When I read any Dick Grayson dialogue, his voice is usually what I still hear in my head, and his impact on the character can't be denied. As for final little notes on chemistry, it's funny how a mirror can reflect those high-tech lasers outside Veronica's safe. As a kid, I feel like I was conditioned from TV shows and movies to believe high-intensity lasers could always be easily sidestepped by a simple reflective surface. Also, Bruce's eyes flip from blue to black a few times here. They're even green when he proposes to Susan. I'm gonna assume that's foreshadowing, since Susan's special pheromones may somehow be affecting Bruce's peepers. Or they just screwed up the color. I'll go ahead and recommend Chemistry for another look. It doesn't fulfill what this concept had the potential for, but it's solid enough as is, and had some standout moments. Remember folks, if things seem too perfect, they probably are. See you next time.